Hello, this is Kathy with Duality Unfolding. Welcome back to my channel. So I have an April month ahead reading for you. So we will be covering the direction that you are going in for the month ahead. Connections, we'll pull one card for current connections and one card for new connections, just looking at them for the month of April. Growth, how will you grow in this month? And then release, what are you being invited or asked to leave behind as you move into April. So I have 4 groups for you to choose from. There's 4 different tarot decks that I'll be using, but these will just be the choosing cards. And we'll see, usually like if I use a choosing card, like it kind of works into the reading somehow, but I feel like these are just an easy way for you guys to pick which group you would like, or if it kind of connects to something and you want to, I don't know, watch more than one reading because of how it connects, you're welcome to do that. So group number 1, your card is Change, Higher Self, the number 13. Group 2, your card is Work, Helper Guides, number 20. Group 3, your card is Balance, Teacher Guides, 26. And group 4, your card is Disruption, Helper Guides 21. Okay, so as always, take all the time that you need to choose. The timestamps are in the description below. So I will see you in the readings. Hello, group number 1. So if you chose this Change Higher Self card and the number 13, this is your reading for the April month ahead. So I have pulled a ton of cards, as I always do. Yep, Ben agrees, if you can hear him. I guess he's gonna hang out in here with us for this reading. Probably give us some commentary on things. He's very cuddly today, and I think he feels super neglected because, yeah, because he hasn't had attention in the last 5 minutes. But I did give him extra attention before I started the reading, and I told him we'll hang out when I'm done, but that is going to be a while. So, yeah, Ben's here eavesdropping. So let's look at the first part of your reading, which is going to be about your direction, like the spirit guided direction for the month ahead. So we have the Hanged Man. I don't know if he's gonna comment on every card. The message is Waiting, Rebirth, Sacrifice, and Reflection. And then for your oracle card, we have Vesta, Hearth. So Vesta, number 32 reduces to 5, 13 reduces to 4. Vesta is a planet, maybe it's an asteroid, I think actually, but Vesta is associated with like the hearth and the home, like the home fires, which I feel like is kind of an older kind of phrase or terminology. But typically Vesta is kind of associated with like the way that we kind of take care of our home, not necessarily the structure of the house, as much as like the kind of energy and feeling inside of the home. So the thing that's coming to mind with this direction is I'm getting moving, and I'm getting this energy about like the feeling of needing to move. So you might be in a situation where you are finally getting to a point where you realize that like you need to change your living situation. Maybe it has to do with like the people that you live with. It could be the area that you live in. Maybe you've really been wanting to move to a different like city, state, country, but you've kind of felt stuck. And so like what I'm feeling around this for the direction is that, you know, it's not yet time to move, but you're really being encouraged to start to like examine like what it is that you want in your new home, like what it is that you want your new home city, home state, home country, what it is you want in that new apartment or new house, or even like what it is that you want in this different living environment. Because it could be something as big as moving to a different country. It could be something as small as just wanting to like redecorate your home, right? Maybe you want to change the color schemes because it's like spring, and maybe you've been in your place for a little while and it's like, I think I would like to paint the walls, but I'm not really sure what color I want to paint them, and paint is expensive, so this, in this month of April, like, you're kind of being encouraged to, following this painting example, to go to the hardware store, right? Or even get on Pinterest and look at like color palettes and see like what colors you really like, what colors go with the furniture that you have. Going to the hardware store and like looking at paint swatches, maybe even talking to the people at the hardware store, like, how much is the paint here? If I want a custom color, how much is it? How much paint do I even need to paint a room? I don't know how big the room is, and like kind of going through the process of like measuring those things, and really, because I feel like that very much has like a 3 of Wands energy, but this energy is just to kind of give yourself time to focus on, or just really time to look at all of the parts that are entailed in this, right? It's not as much about taking action as it is, and it's really not even about making a plan, right? So like maybe you go to the hardware store to look at paint swatches right before you get your groceries. Maybe you get there, like, I don't know, maybe give yourself like 15 minutes, like, I'll just pop in here and then I'll go get my groceries. And so it's not necessarily like this plan of like, okay, I have to write down how much paint is and I have to figure out how many square feet my room is, but just kind of wandering around the hardware store and like looking at the different paint and realizing that there's a lot of different paints and you don't really know which one that you need, but now you know that there's a little bit more that needs to go into it. So it's almost like an information gathering versus planning around like your house, home, or living situation. For some of you, I feel like this could even just be coming out of that stuck energy around wanting to make changes about your home. So like, to give a personal example, like, I know that I want to move, but like with and I know I want to buy a home in the place that I moved to, but like with the housing rates, the mortgage rates, I'm like, it's too high. Like, I'm not going to even spend time like looking, because I'm not going to get excited about a place, and really like the cost of homes with like the interest rate, it's not appealing to me, and I'm not interested. But seeing that they're starting to trend, that the interest rates are coming down, it's like, okay, I'm still in this hangman energy. Like, I don't really want to look at houses right now, but I'm optimistic that maybe in a month or two, a couple months, maybe the next quarter, like, interest rates will, if they continue to go down again, like, I'm in this information gathering, right, to see like, are they going to lower the interest rates, so that if they do lower them, then it's like, okay, now I can kind of move out of this information gathering about whether it's affordable or not for me, and I can maybe start to look at, are the housing prices going to go down with fewer people buying because the interest rates are so high? So it's like, I'm waiting for these rates to go down, but I'm also wanting to gather information about how the prices of houses are going to change. And then also like all this stuff with like realtors and fees that has been changing. So just to give like an example of kind of what that looks like, where it's like, I'm not on Zillow, or I'm not like asking my realtor to like schedule a time that he can like FaceTime me and walk through a house. Like, it's not anything like that. I'm just kind of information gathering before I start to make my plan, right? Because it's like this home and hearth change that's coming up. This isn't necessarily something small. Like I said, even on the small end, if it's just like redecorating a part of your house, like, there's a lot that goes into painting a room, right? Like, you have to clear out all the furniture, or you have to cover the furniture. You got to get tape. You got to get, paint brushes. If you got a little Ben cat, you got to figure out how to keep them out of the room because they don't need to be around that. So there's all these different things, finding the time. So it's like, this is very much like an information gathering time for you in this month of April around like hearth and home and like living environment. So next we will look at your connections for the month of April. So the first one I want to look at is like, it's a current connection that's in your life, just kind of seeing the status of it for the month of April. So the message, or the tarot card that came up is the Page of Pentacles. So this, the information for the card is talent, skills, and money. So this could be someone that you work with. This could be a business partner. This could be someone that is kind of helping you or supporting you in work or business. It could be a work friend, even school. And then the oracle card is, I celebrate all the greatness in my life. So the Page of Pentacles, pages are typically a younger person. Pages are messengers. So this is probably somebody that you communicate with pretty frequently. Like you might message them on your phone, you might text them. It might be somebody, like I said, at work that you talk to a lot. If you're a student, this could be like a classmate. But it's going to be a time, whoever this person is, that like you're really able to celebrate each other, celebrate the friendship, celebrate things that are happening in your life. I feel like they might be coming to you with good news, because we have this Page of Pentacles holding this pentacle, and they're looking straight ahead, and they're like, hey, look at this pentacle that I have, and like I want to share this with you, and like this sun behind them and like these sun rays, it looks like they have some really positive good news. So this could be this could, like, if you, for some of you, this is going to be like a friend letting you know that you're getting a promotion. If you like work together, so it could be a work friend, maybe that like works for HR, and like they find out that you're getting a promotion, they let you know ahead of time. This could be a friend that's in your life that's like, hey, I want to show you this thing that I made that I'm really proud of, you know. But either way, it's for this current relationship, this current connection that you have, it's just going to be really positive. So it's like good news, like positive things. So I feel like that's always like really nice. For some of you, you might have a friend approach you with a business idea, maybe like a little side hustle proposition. It's really, I mean, it's really up to you. I feel like it's going to be successful. And if you just don't have the time, capacity, money to do this with them, like there's no hard feelings, like there's nothing, it's like, hey, the energy feels like, hey, I wanted to include you in this, and I wanted to see if you're interested. And like, if not, it's totally okay. But if you are, like, I would love to have you on board for this, you know? And so I feel like either way, like, you guys will individually be celebrating each other, or you'll be celebrating something that you are kind of creating together, which is a lovely, I love that. Okay, so let's look at a new connection that's coming in for you. So we have, the Devil. So the message is desire, obsession, fear, shadow. Okay, so the Devil is associated with Capricorn. The Devil is also this, you know, like the first word on here is desire. So this could be somebody that you are extremely attracted to, but you know that they are not good for you, right? So like, let's say it's someone much younger than you, or someone that's like in a committed relationship that's not like ethically non-monogamous. It could be it could just be something as like simple as like going out to the bar and like meeting somebody that, like, you know, is just kind of just trouble. You know how you connect with those people? It's like, you are just trouble, and I'm in the mood for a little bit of trouble, but after tonight, like, I can't mess with you. So you know, especially with this Devil, like it's one of the least ominous looking devils, you know, that we have this person with the snake coiled around them. So I feel like the concern with this new connection is that you could get really tangled up in it, right? And so this could be getting tangled up in drama. This could be getting into like a codependent relationship. This could be being pulled into somebody else's drama. Like, they could just be someone that has a lot of drama, that like, if you're dating them, you're going to be subjected to a lot of drama. So it could be that there's somebody that comes in that kind of triggers like a little bit of fear for you, that like maybe a fear of commitment, maybe a fear of like, am I good enough? Yeah. So let's see what the Oracle card says. Okay. The universe is always conspiring to support me, guide me, and lead me compassionately toward the highest good. Okay. And so we have this little cardinal He looks a little grumpy. Look at his little face. He's a little grumpy. I love that we have the red here. If you if you have watched a video where I talk about cardinals, which is pretty frequently, the red cardinal is the male cardinal. And so we have this woman that's in red. So to me, this looks like partnership. So you might have someone coming in that is wanting to create a partnership with you. For some reason, like this feels like the person. So I'm feeling two different things. I'm feeling for some of you, this could be someone that you've already had a relationship with. And then for others of you, this feels like someone new that is going to come on very strong. And I don't feel like they're necessarily going to be obsessed with you, but it's going to feel like that to you. Like they come on so strong that it's like, oh my gosh, like, why are you so obsessed with me? Like, what is going on? This is not what I'm used to. This is kind of weird. And this message of the universe is always conspiring to support me, guide me, and lead me compassionately towards the highest good. If you find yourself in any of these situations where you meet someone that it's like, oh my gosh, this person is not good for me, but I don't know how to resist them, you can ask you can ask the universe for guidance. If you have someone that comes back from the past, like asking the universe for guidance. So it feels like there's not one right answer for this, because you might be at a place in your life where you have done a lot of growing and you're almost kind of unshakable, right? That like you are secure enough in yourself that like if you have a fling and this person turns out to be really dramatic, like you don't have like a lot of drama in their life, or just like kind of a troublemaker, like you are secure enough in yourself to say, hey, I had a really good time with you, but our values are very different and I don't enjoy a lot of drama, and I'm not judging you, I just feel like this is not a good fit for me right now. I've done a lot of work to have peace. I'm sorry, I feel like I keep hitting the microphone. I've done a lot of work to create a very peaceful life for myself, and I just want to thank you for the time that we spent together, but I think it's best for us to go our separate ways. I'm not getting any kind of, like, I know this says obsession, but I'm not getting any kind of like weird like stalker vibes or anything. Like you might get a couple like mean text messages, if this person, because I feel like there could be some victim energy here, but I also feel like you have the guidance of the universe. So like if you know that you're not in the right place for like any kind of connection right now, like you're deep in your healing, you're deep in your growth, like you are not open to any new connections, like you and source can have that conversation, as far as like don't send me anybody, because I feel like there's been times that I've had like people, like I could feel other people's energy in my, like from my past, and it's like all I do this thing where I like look up at the ceiling, and that's how I like talk to God, source, spirit, and and I'll be like, no thank you, no thank you, no thank you, like for whoever that energy is, I'm like, no thank you. And then there's other times where like there's people from my past that I'll think of, and it's like, oh, I really hope they're okay. Like, oh, I hope that like you can send them like really positive energy and that they're doing okay. And then there's other people that like I am connected to, that like something will come up and I'll feel their energy and I reach out. I'm like, hey, we haven't talked to them. Are you doing okay? Like, how's this eclipse hitting you? You all right? Like the world's on fire thinking of you. I hope you're okay. So I say all that to say that, like you have free will over this, like you have a relationship with God, source, spirit. And so if you if you're in the mood for something new and different, it feels like it's coming at you. If you are not sure, then just make sure that you're really tapping into like your connection with God's source, spirit, so that you can hear whatever guidance they have for you. Okay, next we have growth. So this is going to be how you will be growing in the month of April. Okay, we have 6 of Swords, explore, discovery, moving on. Then we've got manifesting and doing, 59. And then I have one more. It's a self-care card for your growth. So we have truth, and then truth is different at different levels of consciousness, reserve, judgment. Okay. So all three of these together, Six of Swords is about moving on. So you are moving away from something and you're manifesting and working on where it is that you want to go. And so I feel like these cards match very well because, she's got the stars and like she's kind of looking forward, and that's that manifesting energy. But this actually rowing her own boat, like getting into the boat and moving forward, is the doing. Typically in the Six of Swords, there is the person that represents you, and then there's somebody else that's steering the boat, that's like kind of moving the boat along. I love that it is just the one person that that you've made the choice that you're going to gather your things and put yourself into a means of transportation, that you are going to remove yourself from the thing that like is no longer serving you, or you're just getting out there because you want to explore something new, you want to discover something new about yourself or about the world or about career, whatever it is. And then with this Truth card, truth is different at different levels of consciousness, reserve judgment. And we've got this hand with the eye in it. We've got this eye at the front of the boat as well. And so it feels to me like you are being guided by your own inner wisdom, and that the choices that you're making, the things you're walking away from, it doesn't make sense to other people. And so this card is just encouraging you to care for yourself by understanding that like the people that disagree with what you're doing are probably at a different place in their lives than you are. This talks about like a different level of consciousness. I like to think of it as like we're all on our own journey. And sometimes we have people that are moving in the same direction on their journey as we are. Sometimes like we're on the journey together. Like I've had many friends that like we will be, especially with career, but I think it's because I'm a Capricorn rising, that like we will be on the same path in career, and then we'll kind of split out and do things. And then like I'll have another friend that comes onto the path, and then there's times that like maybe I'll get a phone call from a friend that's on the path, and they're like, hey, I think you walked on this path before. Like, can you give me some guidance? So I don't like to think of it as like levels of consciousness. I like to think of it more as growth, which is, what this category is. But and also reserving judgment, right? So I think the tricky thing with this is the feeling that like others are going to judge you, and I feel like Spirit is asking you not to hold it against them, because one, they don't realize that they're judging you, and two, like it's coming from a place of concern, like they want the best for you, but also I feel like we are collectively, especially like the last full moon that we had, like it was Monday. I was going to say a couple weeks ago. No, it was Monday. It's been a long week. So the full moon eclipse that we had on Monday was on March 25th, was in Libra. And so that was conjunct with the South Node. South Node is about releasing. So we were being asked to release things that have to do with like how we connect to the other, because Libra is the sign of focusing on the other. It's the scales, the balance, right? You can't balance just one thing. You have to have something to balance against. So Libra is very much about like the self versus the other, and always rebalancing those things. But some of the difficult things with Libra placements, or like the Libra energy, is sort of this like people pleasing or putting others before ourselves. And so this judgment that comes up, and how you see it and how you process it and how you deal with it, I feel like is very much connected to some of this like Libra full moon eclipse stuff, where it's like you're being confronted with how it feels to like see this judgment, and how it feels to have it kind of affect the choices that you want to make, and like really feeling and integrating and embodying what it feels like to do things for you. Despite the judgment of other people, because I feel like you are more than capable of making your own best decisions, because like you found the boat, you found the port, the harbor, the whatever boat terminology is. You gathered all your swords, you got them in there, you learned how to paddle and how to steer a ship, you figured out where you wanted to go. So because you are the person like at the helm here, I feel like you are more than capable of moving away from whatever you don't want anymore, as well as moving towards what it is that you want to explore and discover. So other people's judgments about that, the truth of it is that like you are allowed to do things for yourself that bring you joy, that make you happy, that satisfy you, that are fulfilling for your life. But you're also more than capable, because you have manifested, like you're manifesting it and you're doing it, so it's not just a daydream. Okay. So that is your growth and self-care for April. And then lastly, we have release. So what needs to be left behind? Nice. Okay, so 5 of Swords is what you're being asked to release. So this card talks about upheaval, conflict, and loss. So this is kind of, to me, like the 5 of Swords is very much about like winning at all costs. We've got this kind of snake tangled up in it in the traditional tarot. With the 5 of Swords, like one person has stolen all 5 swords, or they've won all 5 swords away from 2 different people through fighting. And so sometimes this card can represent like fighting dirty, winning at all costs, like hyper competitiveness. But it's really a lose-lose situation, because even though that one person won all 5 of the swords, like you don't need 5 swords as one person, but the 2 people that are walking away, like they're, one is very kind of upset and the other one's maybe a little bit like disgruntled or angry. So it's like when we try to win at all costs, like it's a lose-lose situation, right? Instead of 3 people sharing 5 resources, one person has decided that they need to take all of them from everybody. And so that energy of almost like this greed or like kind of overpowering other people, like that's a really great energy to leave behind. I will leave it to you to determine if that has been your energy or if that's energy that you're experiencing with other people. But either way, that's something that you're being invited to leave behind. So if this is something that maybe you have been doing, you're being encouraged to not do that. If this is something that you're experiencing with another person, the encouragement is to kind of move away from that energy, possibly like move away or make distance from that person. And then the Oracle card, is sweetness. So I was going to say we're not necessarily releasing sweetness, but actually I think we are. If you have been interacting with this energy and you just kind of put a smile on your face and you keep your mouth shut, you're being encouraged to stop doing that, is how it feels. Yeah, that we don't have to be sweet in the face of kind of nastiness, even snarkiness, right? Because this over competitive thing can just be like somebody that talks shit, right? And it's like, it's not even a situation where that's appropriate. It's not like you're playing, I don't know, 3-on-3 basketball or something. As adults, I don't really know like what situations are appropriate for like talking shit to people, like to their face, right? Like if you have a little bit of road rage, I don't blame you. Sometimes you just got to yell at the person that's cutting people off when they're driving down the highway, even though they can't hear you. You just got to you're scared and you got to get that out. Sometimes, you got to tell off people when you're by yourself, because you're not allowed to tell it to their face because you might get fired and we all need money. But what this feels like is if you are interacting with this kind of energy and you've just been kind of like, this feels very much like grin and bear it. You are being invited to release that grin and bear it kind of behavior, and so that could look like not smiling in response to whatever someone says. It doesn't necessarily mean that like you need to stand up for the group and say like, hey person, I don't want to use a name, but Charles is coming to mind. Hey Charles, like you can't talk to us like that. I'm sure that Charles is a very lovely person. But you don't have to be confrontational in that way, right? Because I think sometimes when people behave badly, and we kind of grin and bear it, like the message that they get is like, oh, it wasn't that bad. Like, it's not that bad because they're still smiling, you know, or like, oh, see, they know that I was making a joke. And like, maybe you don't. Maybe you just are trying not to have this person lay into you with their really terrible and like not appropriate for the situation words. And so maybe you just don't smile in response to whatever they say. Maybe you just kind of deadpan and let your face be long and just kind of look at them like, bro, who says stuff like this without saying it? Or it could be, you know, that you actually say something and maybe you say like, I don't think that's very funny, or like, that was a lot. Or like whatever feels appropriate for you, but it feels like you're you're being encouraged to or invited to release kind of just this grin and bear it behavior around like any kinds of like upheaval, conflict, sort of loss that comes up in your life in the month of April. So, group number 1, this has been your reading. I was trying to keep these kind of brief, but I am not very good at brief. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. I'd also love it if you would comment, if you want to share how you like what you think of the reading. No pressure though. But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for letting me read your cards. Like, if you have watched any of my videos before, thank you so much for coming back to watch another one. Thanks for spending time with me. And yeah, thanks for letting me read your cards. I will see you next time. Have a good April. Bye. Hello, group number 2. So if you chose this work helper guards, maybe your guides are like guards, helper guides, number 20 card, this is your reading. So I have pulled a number of tarot and oracle cards for you guys because I don't know how not to do too much. And I love all the cards so much. They're so pretty. So you're welcome. But let's get into your reading for the month of April. So let's look at the direction that you're being asked to move in or focus on for the month of April. So we've got the Hanged Man. Okay, this is kind of weird because the last group had Hanged Man energy, just very interesting. And so the Oracle card is South Node, which is the past, number 33. That's a master number. I don't know why this is funny to me. I think it's funny to me when like the same card comes up in like different readings in the same place. Come on. So with this Hanged Man energy, I like that like he's got both of his hands free and it's almost like he's hanging like his feet, like his legs are holding onto the edge of this Instagram post. The little caption's really cute too because it talks about like, you know, sometimes it's not bad to be stuck. Sometimes it's a nice reminder to like be present, slow down, trust the universe has a plan. And Hangman can be about like feeling stuck, but Hanged Man can also be voluntary surrender, which is how this card feels. Because when we look at him at any point, he could get himself down, right? He could reach up and hold on to this and like fling his legs over and right himself, you know, get himself back upright. But he's not. He's choosing to be upside down, to look at things from a different perspective. South Node and the past. The South Node is about releasing and like letting something go. Monday, March 25th, we had the full moon eclipse in Libra. Libra is currently this the sign that the South Node of the moon is in. And so if you think back to like the start of this week, maybe something came up or maybe something has been coming up that, you know, you're being invited to just let go of and allow to be in the past. And I think sometimes, you know, when we are releasing things or when we feel called, nudged, guided to let go of something, it feels like there's work we need to do, right? It feels like there's like a task we need to do. But like releasing our past, sometimes there are things that we can do, right, to release our past. Like sometimes it almost looks like this hand is watering this plant. Sometimes releasing our past looks like going through old photos and like getting rid of photos. It could be maybe getting rid of like a hoodie that your ex got you, or like just if there's tangible things that remind you of this person or this time in your life that you're trying to release, or that you feel like you're being encouraged to release, like cleaning out those tangible things. But I feel like for a lot of you, this is more energetic. And I say that because there's only so much we can do. There's only so much work we can do to make a plant grow, right? Like you can put it in the right soil, or you can try to find the best soil for it. You can try to give it like the amount of like water and sunshine that it needs, but there's nothing you can do to make it grow faster, right? Like the plant is going to grow the way that it grows. You can give it all of the best conditions for it to grow, but there's nothing you can do to like make it grow faster. And so it almost feels like this is kind of the focus for you, the direction for you for the month, is to hold that reminder, to hold that kind of trust that things are unfolding exactly the way that they need to. And the things that are being released or removed from your life, that are from your past, like they're being removed for your best, highest good. So it's almost like we can think of it like you're this little blossom. And if there's a rock over where we planted you, and that's something that's been there for years and decades, and we need to remove it, or maybe like it's gravel, right? Or like you got wood chips or something in your like flower bed, and the gardener realizes like, okay, this little sprout can't move past these garden chips, so like, or these wood chips, like I need to remove them. I need to remove this because it's more important to give this plant space to grow than it is to have like this wood chip aesthetic thing going on. I hope that makes sense. Like, I hope that's an understandable analogy. Because, there's, the plant can fight trying to grow through the wood chips, just like we can fight to, try to hold on to the past. But it's like, the ultimate goal is to grow. The ultimate goal is to trust. And if holding on to the past is what is taking the place of you being open to trusting the universe, you can't have it both ways, right? Like you can either kind of walk in faith and trust the universe to guide you towards the unseen, or you can cling to the past and have the security of the predictability of all the things that have already happened and stay where you are. Like you can't do both. I hope that makes sense. So next we have connections. So connections for the month of April. We're going to look at a current connection first. So we've got Ace of Cups. Okay. And I breathe calmly and easily. I am safe in this moment. Okay. So there is somebody that you have a current connection with that in the month of April, like they're just going to be, it feels like this is kind of, I guess maybe it's not really personal. I was going to say this is kind of personal, but maybe it's not. When I was little, I used to suck my thumb, and I had this purple pillowcase. It was like satin. And so I would suck my thumb, and I can't remember which thumb I sucked, but I would suck my thumb and like just rub this pillowcase, and I carried it everywhere until it was time to go to kindergarten, and then my mom took it away. But that pillowcase was just like, that was it was like a security blanket, pretty much, security pillowcase. And so like anytime that I was trying to self-soothe or comfort myself, or I think just whenever, I don't really remember it because it was so little, but like I always had it. There's pictures of me with it. Like I can vaguely remember like the feeling of it. I don't remember seeing it. Like in my memory, I can't see anything, but I can feel it in my brain, if that makes sense. But what this feels like is that you have a connection that is already in your life. And for the month of April, this person's really going to step up to just kind of be with you. I feel like especially through this, like they're just going to be like this really kind of like rock solid support, that like, just to remind you that like you're safe. They're going to be bringing in lots of love. They might be, inviting you like, hey, let's go meet for coffee and like we can just talk. Like I just want to listen. I'm here to support you. Like even maybe like I'm worried about you. Like, are you doing okay? And this person's just going to bring you they're going to bring that feeling, that safety blanket feeling, and so to me it feels like this person might be a little bit older than you or just have a little bit more life experience than you, even if they aren't older. And they're really going to help you. They're going to really reinforce this message that you're right where you need to be, even if it doesn't feel good, even if it doesn't feel comfortable. And they're going to remind you that because they have been through something similar that you know about, and so it's kind of like having, God, it's like in my mind, it looks like, if you break your arm and then like your best friend is like, hey, let's like you're out of the hospital, you're good, let's go hang out. And they broke their arm a couple years ago, so like they are very good about like, I'm gonna come over to your house and hang out, or I'm gonna get takeout and bring it out, so you don't have to worry about like getting in the car and going out and your cast is in the way and like getting dressed and all this stuff. Like, I want to hang out, so I'm just gonna come to you, and like you could be in your PJs or your sweats or whatever. Like, I'm gonna get your favorite food, we're just gonna hang out and just be goofy and laugh about stuff and draw things on your cast. Like, that's kind of the energy that it feels like, that they remember how kind of inconvenient and hard it is to like navigate with a cast on, and how almost like the things that they wish that someone would have given to them when they were healing, they're going to offer that to you. So this is really like, it just feels so lovely, like very like warm in my chest, and even like my upper stomach, like that solar plexus chakra, heart chakra. Like, it just feels like they might be a hugger too. Like, they might be like someone that's very like physically affectionate. This could be a mom for some of you, mom or a grandma. For others of you, this is just going to be like a friend that just really cares about you. So that's so lovely. I love that. Okay, so let's look at a new connection that's coming in for you in the month of April. Ooh, Two of Cups. This is such a weird Two of Cups because it's a giant hot dog or sausage. I'm gonna let you read this. This is nonsense in the best way. I love it. Okay, so Two of Cups is a card. Two of Condiments. So Two of Cups is a card of partnership, of like divine connection, and we see that they obviously have something in common. Like, they both like sausage. Oh my God, self, I can't. But they are. I'm so sorry. I am a child. This new person that's coming in, very sweet. This could be love, this could just be friendship. You guys have a lot in common, and it feels very like low pressure. Like, it's super easy to hang out with them, it's super easy to be around them. Like, I feel like they are going to initiate the contact with you. Like, they're going to kind of extend like a handshake to introduce themselves, extend an invitation to hang out. They're going to talk to you first. They're going to be the one that approaches you. And so the oracle message that we have is, I trust that my powerful intentions combined with my faith are enough to allow my vision to become my reality. Okay, so if there's something that you have been trying to manifest around like a new connection, this is it. So if you've been really like wanting to find like a new like foodie friend that likes to try, I don't know, the new restaurants, or like if there's like a certain type of food, like let's say that you really love Indian food and like everybody else in your group is like, no. So like you are like, oh, I just wish I had like a friend to eat Indian food with. That's who's coming in. I don't think there's, or maybe like you guys really need a German food, or just hot dogs. I don't know. But if this is something romantic, whatever new connection you've been trying to manifest, like that's going to come in this month. So whether that's like love, friendships, could be like new work coworkers, it could be like a workout buddy. For some of you, I feel like this could even be a pet. Yeah, so take that if it resonates. And also, I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but if you can go to a shelter instead of buying a pet, I feel like there's a lot of There's a lot of baby dogs and cats and animals in the shelters that can always use homes. So that's my soapbox about animals. But so this, whatever this connection, this new connection is that you have been visioning, trying to manifest, like that's going to come in for April, which is lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. If anybody's a BTS fan. Okay, so next we have growth. So we're going to look at how you will grow this month, as well as like a little bit of self-care for while you're growing. So your growth card is 10 of Cups. So I may not be perfect, but with my family by my side, I feel invincible. 10 of Cups to me is a happily ever after card. So the tens in any suit is like the end. It's the culmination. It's getting to almost like the finish line, like reaching the goal. And for some people, like I feel like everybody's happily ever after looks different. So 10 of Cups, like Cups is typically associated with love, but it's also associated with emotions, right? So for some of you, like there might be something that you're trying to like heal around emotionally. There might be some kind of like emotional stuff that you're trying to make some like, not even progress, like you're trying to get to like a finish around it, if that makes sense. Because I know like emotions, it's not really like you can't finish being sad for the rest of your life, but it almost feels like it might have to do with this, whatever it is that you're releasing. It might be that you've been trying to release it for quite a while, and in this growth, like over the course of the month, you're going to go through some significant growth that gets you to a place that this doesn't affect you as much anymore. And maybe like you get to a place where like you don't think about it every day, and maybe it's like 2 or 3 days go by and you think about it and you realize, oh, I haven't thought about this thing, or I haven't been upset about this thing, or I haven't cried about this thing in a couple of days, and like, oh wow, like I'm making progress. Hooray. For some of you, the growth might come in like your family relationships, your family connections, something around your family. Like there could be a new addition to your family. It could be that somebody is getting married, somebody announces a pregnancy, somebody announces like engagement. Or this could just be you visiting your family, like spending some time with your family if you haven't seen them in a while. But as far as like growth, this could be you really kind of growing and, culminating some healing, or even getting really clear on what it is that you want for your own happily ever after, right? Because not everybody's happily ever after is like marriage and kids. Not everybody's happily ever after is like a heteronormative relationship. Like everybody's happily ever after looks different. Like some people are solitary and their happily ever after is making enough money that they can just travel whenever they want to and have like complete freedom of time. Some people's happily ever after is just being able to pay all their bills and save a little bit of money and not being stressed all the time. Some people's happily ever after is like having a like consistent schedule. So we all have a different happily ever after. So as you grow this month, I feel like that is going to that's going to grow, or that's going to come to the surface. Like how close you are to your happily ever after, or really, really getting clear on it. Yeah. So the Oracle message is balance. Lovely. Especially with this 2 of Cups. Got this Ace of Cups, the hand balancing. 14, 1 plus 4 is 5, which is the number of change. And then, sorry, I'm moving too fast. This balance card with the 10 of Cups, like you might be, part of your growth might be balancing out what you want versus what your family expects, what you thought you wanted versus maybe what you want that's a little different. Like it doesn't feel as much as like a balancing for some as it feels like a compare and contrast for others, which is still kind of a balance in a way. Because you're looking at like, okay, forever, like for forever, I've wanted to get married, but now I I don't really know that I want to get married. Like, or maybe like marriage isn't that important to me. Maybe like I just want to try casually dating and like just see how that goes and like not really focus on like a long term anything. Like maybe instead of like wanting to have like one significant other, you're like, I kind of just want to like hang out with a bunch of people and like I kind of just want to go on a bunch of dates and just see like what that's like, because I've never done that, you know. So it's that can be balancing. That can be like the compare and contrast. I just realized this says in balance. I don't know why I thought that was just like a little flourish and not like an actual word. So for some of you, the growth is going to create this sense of balance in your life, which is lovely. So this could be balancing like the time that you spend with your family and the time that you spend with your new person. This could be balancing like your healing and your fun. The self-care card is speak up. And the message says, if you avoid conflict to keep the peace, you start a war inside yourself. Okay, perfect. So I feel like this very much resonates with kind of what we talked about with Libra being like the sign of the other and having to balance like what they want versus like what I want and like trying to find this happy medium. And I think one of the hard things about balance in relationships where there's a little bit of disagreement or conflict is that not everything, this is going to be a little sticky. So take it if it resonates, if you agree, if you don't, that's totally fine. But I feel like in relationships, sometimes there are things that we cannot compromise. I think a lot of relationship advice has to do with compromise. Like there has to be give and take. And it's like for certain things, sure. Maybe like if you are in a committed relationship and you have a child, that, you know, like the give and take is that, you know, you're both working. You have to take turns on who wakes up and feeds the baby in the middle of the night, because it's not fair for one person to always do it because they're sleep deprived, you know? Or it could be that like, well, you know, the dad is this, you know, the dad stays at home and the mom works. And so, you know, or one partner stays at home and one partner works. And so the stay at home partner always does all the, you know, all the baby stuff, but like the baby's been sick and like just, you know, the stay-at-home parent has not been able to like get really any rest. And so the working parent who maybe has to get up really early says, hey, you need to rest. And like, I will get up with the, like, I can sacrifice a night of sleep. It's, you know, tomorrow's Friday. It's an easy day. It'll be fine. You know, and that's a really beautiful compromise. There are other times that like we can't compromise. And I feel like that's what this card is talking about. Like, if the compromise in the relationship requires you to violate your own values, to put your safety at risk, or for you to be out of alignment and in conflict with yourself. And so I kind of, in other videos I've talked about how like I don't really have a relationship with my mom. Like we text, but that's about the extent of it. And the reason that I chose to put up such a high boundary with her was because I realized that I could not pay in my mental health to spend time with her. The simple way to say it is that we don't get along. But you know, like with all relationships, it's so much more nuanced than that. But I realized that, you know, the cost of spending time with her was too high, because the damage I was repairing, I couldn't repair it fast enough. Or it was just getting to be too much that like, I was at a deficit, right? So it's almost like if you get a car and your car payment is like $500 a month, but you only make $1,000 a month and your rent is $800, like eventually you can't afford that car payment, right? So it's like you're going to end up being at a deficit. So like you have to make a choice. Either you get another job where you make more money, or you have to get another car that you can afford the car payment on. Because if you keep going the way you're going, like there's going to be some negative consequences to your bank account, to your credit. You're either going to lose the car, or you're going to lose your home. And so I feel like that's what this card is about. So like if there is someone or there's a situation in your life that has been taking away your peace, that you've been sacrificing your peace to keep the peace in that relationship, like you're going to have some things happen where you are growing out of that this month, because you need to have an internal balance. There needs to be balance inside of you. And then last, we have what needs to be left behind or released in the month of April. And we've got Page of Cups. Okay. The message says, just tried the cutest milk tea with the most delicious boba. For some of you, this does not look like any kind of boba tea I have had. What this does look like is an alcoholic beverage. So for some of you, you are being encouraged to release any addictions, anything that you are overindulging in, so for some people this could be alcohol, for some people this could be spending, eating, over exercising, overworking, anything that you're doing in excess that is not for your highest good. You're either going to see this month that it's not for your highest good, or if you know that you've been indulging in something that's not for your best highest good, you're really going to be releasing it this month. And then the oracle card that goes along with this is magic. And so what this feels like to me is that like whatever this overindulgence is that you're partaking in, it's really blocking you from seeing the magic in yourself, and also from bringing something magical into your life. So it's almost like the thing that I'm picking up on definitely has to do with like intuition, kind of spirituality, like whatever this overindulgence is, it's creating some kind of like chemical reaction within you that blocks your ability to hear, see, intuit, receive some kind of messages. So for some of you, I'm getting that you kind of know that you're psychic, and there are times that you see things and you don't want to see them, so you just drink so that you don't have to deal with it. Like, and I feel like you're being asked to look at releasing that. I feel like that's a really big ask. If that feels like it resonates for you, that I know it's a really big ask. So you're just being invited to think about what it would mean for you to release that block that you've created for yourself, right? That like kind of looking at like, okay, looking at how you think about what it means about you if you are having visions, what it means about you if you can see ghosts or people that have passed, what it means about you if you can see energies, because I feel like that's really what the block is around your magic, that you're afraid of what your own magic is, what your own intuitive abilities are, and you're also afraid of what people will think of you, which I totally get. Like, I totally understand that. And so that's why I say I feel like it's a big ask. For others of you, it feels like there's something you're overindulging in, and it just takes your attention and your time away from the time and attention that you could dedicate to your magic and your spirituality. So this could look as simple as like someone being really kind of into shopping, right? Like retail therapy. And so instead of maybe doing some journaling or like pulling some tarot cards, you just spend 5 or 6 hours at an outlet mall, like just looking at things and buying things. And like you're being encouraged to release that habit so that you have more time and energy to spend on your spiritual practice, to spend with your spirit guides, to spend like in your own energy, because there is spiritual work that needs to be done, and you have these helper guides that like they want. And again, we have a 2 here, right? Like a 2 cups, the 2 of cups. Your guides want to help you grow in your intuitive abilities, and so they're here to help you do the work, but they can't do it for you. And so it's like, if you guys agree to like work on a project, but you don't show up to the meeting place, there's not anything they can do. They can't do all the work by themselves, right? Because really your helper guides, like, they don't need to grow in their intuitive abilities. Like, they're already living that. So if there's any kind of like overconsumption that you're engaging in, this is a message that like for the month of April, you're being asked to really look at that and see how like it affects, how it's blocking, or how it affects like your spiritual practice and like your own kind of intuitive magic. But group number 2, this has been your reading for the month of April. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here. If you have watched my videos before, I want to say thank you so much for coming back to watch this one. Thank you for letting me read your cards. If you enjoyed this, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. If you'd like to leave a comment, I would love that as well. But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for being here, and I hope you have an amazing April. So I will see you guys next time. Bye. Hello, group number 3. So if you chose this Balance Teacher Guides cards, number 26, this is your reading. So we will be looking at all of these, all of these cards. To go over your month of April reading. So first of all, we are going to look at the direction that you're being guided to go into for the month of April. So we've got the Fool card. So you are starting a new journey, fresh start, clean slate, really positive energy, moving away from something that's been kind of difficult. But you've got lots of support with you. You're feeling very, it feels good. It feels good. It's like a breath of fresh air. You've been waiting for this opportunity to come. This new, almost like you've just been waiting for like spring to happen. You've been waiting for it to warm up. You're just ready to get out into the world and like smell the roses and take your little adorable dog on a walk. And then the oracle card we have is 10th house authority number 48. So the 10th house is about career, and maybe you are deciding to take your career into a different direction. 4 plus 8 is 12, which reduces to 1 plus 2, which is 3. 3 is a number of really, I feel like there's like this energy of like divinity around that number. To me, it also feels like fun, but I'm thinking of like the triangle shape, right? Where, you know, you've got the 2 sides supported by like a really stable base, but the energy of it is that it's pointing upward, right? So we have a stable foundation and like the sky is the limit. And even here in these, you know, with these mountains, we've got this person moving up these mountains. They're very, for the most part, like really sharp looking mountains. We've got 10th house is associated with Capricorn, which is really it's a very strong, stable earth energy. Very like, I feel like this card has like a lot of like divine masculine energy to it. And like when I say divine masculine, it's this alignment that's rooted in like the guidance of your higher self, your God self, source, spirit, universe, that it's not as much about like being in charge, being an authority, being in charge, as it is being an authority of yourself, being an authority of your life, being an authority of your own decisions, and like going where it feels right for you, where it feels the best for you. And I feel like there's really big alignment in this direction that you're going to follow for the month, because everybody's moving the same direction. So essentially, it's almost like you have your teacher guides, like your higher self, and then maybe you. Even the dog, like everybody's moving in the same direction. So I feel like this month of April is going to be really, really about alignment for you, that you're going to be very much in alignment with, like your soul's purpose, your soul's growth. Like you, it feels like it's really adorable. Like it feels like when you have like a group of friends that meet for a hike, and like you're gonna go for a hike and then you're gonna have brunch. So it's like everybody's just like, we got there at the same time. Like we're just excited to like spend time together, like out in nature, going on this hike. Like nobody's trying to like outdo anybody. Nobody's in charge. It's just like we're just getting some movement, we're enjoying nature, we're enjoying each other's company, and then we get this treat of eating brunch afterwards. Like it's just it feels just like really good. Like everybody is on the same page, like they're all in agreement, they're all there for the same reason, and they're really happy to be there, and they're looking forward to like what's coming, even if they have never been on this trail before, even if they've never had brunch at this place before, even if they've never hiked before, right? So it just feels really good. It just feels, oh, man, group number 3. This is going to be a good month for y'all. It just feels lovely. I love it. Next, we have connections. So I have pulled a tarot and oracle card for your current connections, like a current connection that wants to be highlighted for the month of April, as well as a new connection. So we're going to look at that current one first, which is Queen of Coins, Queen of Pentacles. Okay. And then the oracle card is, I honor my self-worth by asking for what I want. Okay. So your current relationship that's going to be highlighted this month is the relationship you have with yourself. Because like Queen of Coins, she's very good at self-care. Like we have the Empress, which Queen of Coins and the Empress have similar energy. Empress is about like abundance and nurturing and like very much the divine feminine. Queen of Coins is about growth and development and like nurturing in the way of like making things happen. Empress is sort of this like energetic nurturing, like almost like a kind of love energy, like the Queen of Cups would be. Queen of Coins it's much more tangible. Queen of Coins, like she is doing the things that she needs to do to make something grow, blossom, increase. And so the pentacles, the pomegranates that are on this card, are like, to me, they're also a nod to like the High Priestess. Like sometimes she's holding a pomegranate, and then also the Empress, who usually has like pomegranates or grapes around her. Like it's a symbol of a little bit of like luxuriousness, a little bit of opulence, because like pomegranates are not like a super common fruit. And it feels like in this month, like as you're going on this journey, like your value for yourself, your love and care for yourself is just going to grow and increase. It's almost like the more time you're spending with yourself and your higher self and your guides, like in this new journey, alignment energy, like you fall in love with yourself. Like you fall in love with your life. You fall in love with your capabilities. You fall in love with like all the things that you have grown and developed for yourself that you couldn't see until this month. And I feel like this is just really, it's super powerful. Like if you don't feel like you really love yourself and you really love your life, like if you haven't gotten to that place in your journey yet, I feel like you're going to start getting there this month. If you do feel like you love yourself and you love your life, this is just going to be like a really big expansion of it. Like you're just going to fall more deeply in love with yourself. But I feel like a lot of people struggle with self-love. A lot of people struggle to just like themselves, because we live in a world that teaches us that like it's arrogant to love ourselves or to like ourselves. And we also get messaging at the same time that there's nothing likable or lovable about us by society. You know, it sets all these standards of like what you need to do to earn love, you know, and a lot of it is based on like looks and aesthetic, which has nothing to do with love. Like I said before, like it feels like you are coming out of a difficult time. You might have like some wounding from past relationships or even childhood or just any number of things. Being a human being is hard. But I feel like in this month of April, like the relationship that is going to, the current relationship that you have that's going to just be really beautiful is your relationship with yourself. And you're going to like, your love and care for yourself is going to increase and grow over the month. And I feel like that is going to help you when the time comes that you are in a position that you need to ask for the things that you want or need. Like I said, this is career. You might be making some career changes. Queen of Pentacles, you know, has to do with time, energy, money. So maybe you are deciding to make a career change. Maybe you apply for a job. And what this looks like is there's a negotiation phase. And instead of avoiding asking for more money, you do some research, you talk to a friend, you figure out like comparable wages for that position, and you ask for what it is that you think you deserve, or you even ask for a little bit more than the kind of standard, like across the board salary for this role, because you feel like you are worthy of asking for it. You know, because I think sometimes we can feel like I don't deserve this and I'm not going to ask for it. And then we can feel like I don't deserve to ask for it, you know? And so it's like, those are two very different energies. Like if we don't feel deserving to use our voice to ask for something, that's a problem. Because when we feel deserving to ask for something, but we recognize that like we haven't put in the work or we're not performing at that level, then, you know, we feel like if we're comfortable asking for it, but because we have this humble view that like, I'm not doing $90,000 worth of work, so I'm not going to ask for $90,000 worth of salary, but I do know that I bring $85,000 worth of skills to this, so I'm going to ask for that. Like that's the difference, like feeling like I don't deserve to ask for more than what someone will give me versus I know that I'm not operating at a level that is deserving of getting paid more than like the work I'm putting out. I hope that makes sense. It's very nuanced. And I feel like you are in the energy of, I don't deserve to ask for anything more. I have to take whatever anybody is willing to give me. And scrap season is over. Like we're not taking table scraps. We're not playing small. Like Queen of Pentacles doesn't play small. This is full 10th house Capricorn. Capricorn is about, as a Capricorn rising, we are about some hard work. Like we will work circles around people. like perseverance is just, I mean, because look at these mountains, right? Like this little guy is not going to climb just this one triangle. He's going to climb this one, and he's going to go up this one and go to this one. Maybe he's going to come down and go back up this one. So it's not, you know, just one thing. So if you are making a career change, you're so much of this energy is aligned with like you moving out of the I don't deserve to ask and moving into reevaluating like what am I bringing to the table, and what is the monetary value of that, or what is the time value of that, or what is the whatever, however you measure value. You know, looking at objectively, like what is the value of what I bring versus I don't deserve to ask for anything. You're moving out of that. Like you starting a new journey. We don't have time to think small of ourselves. So yeah. And you deserve it. I don't need to know you to know that you deserve it. The next card that we have is new connections that are coming in the month of April. Oh, the lovers. Sorry, I lost my voice. Oh, I love this. Okay. So I feel like this is you, because this person's holding the pentacle, which is you, and this fire is kind of floating above their hand. And this person, this lover coming in, is they're coming towards you. Like they are, I feel like they are the initiator. They are the, I don't like the term like chaser and runner, but I feel like they're the initiator. They're the person that is going to approach you. They're the person that they've decided that because they think that they deserve you, then that means that you are deserving of them. So this is someone that's definitely going to help you kind of overcome some of that self-worth stuff. I feel like this person is very spiritual, and like I'm getting kind of like this law of attraction vibe around like, I deserve you because we resonate at the same frequency. And if you don't believe that you're deserving of me, then like, why did we attract each other? Like, why did we resonate together? Like, you're vibrating at the same frequency with me. So the universe says that we are equals. So if your brain is telling you that we're not, then that's a you problem that you have to work out with the universe. Like, I feel like that's how your person like sees it, where it's like they're not going to convince you that like they're not going to sit here and be like, no, you do deserve me. Like I feel like it's just very straightforward. Like, nope, I know that I deserve to be in a partnership, relationship, dating, spending time with someone like you. And if you feel like you don't deserve to spend time with me, that's different than if you don't want to. If you don't want to, like, they're not going to force you to hang out, but I feel like there's some fear stuff in the way where it's like, oh, what if they think I'm not good enough? Like that doesn't even factor in for them. I don't know how to explain it. Like, because in my mind, like, I can hear them saying like, not good enough doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't, what? So it's almost like the way they see it is like, because there is a mutual attraction between the two of you, because you both feel drawn to each other. Like, I feel like such a goober saying this because I feel like this is what young kids say. Like, the vibes are immaculate. And so for them, it's like, if we weren't supposed to like be together, even just having like company or like just being friends or whatever the connection is, if we weren't meant to come together, we wouldn't have been drawn to each other. Like, if we weren't meant to be together, then you would not want to be with me the same way I want to be with you. And so like, you feeling like you're not good enough or you don't deserve them, like, doesn't really factor into it. It's almost like you guys are both vegans, and they're and they're like, hey, I'm gonna make this, I don't know, lentil soup for dinner, and you're like, yeah, but don't put chicken in it. And it's like, we're both vegans. Like, why are we talking about chicken? Like, neither of us eats that. I feel like that's the same energy that they bring when you bring up this like, but I'm not good enough. It's like, that's not a factor though. So I'm sorry. I feel like it's really funny because it's like, I feel like I can hear them and they're like, you don't get it. Like, please, like, please stop talking about like not good enough. That's like chicken. We're vegans. Like, just let me love you. Please stop. So, I'm a big fan of whoever this person is that's coming in, obviously. Okay, so the oracle card that I have for you is, I let the universe catch up with my dreams. Yeah. So I feel like you have wanted a partnership, a relationship, a connection like this for a long time. And I think you let go of it. I think you kind of felt like, well, it's never going to happen. And I guess I'll just focus on my career and I'll focus on loving myself. And then like, this amazing person comes in. And I mean, that's what they always say, right? Like, it happens when you're not looking for it, or like when the timing's like wrong or something. But yeah, I feel like the universe is The universe is like, hold on, I'm doing a bunch of stuff here, group number 3. Like, I gotta coordinate your teacher angels. I gotta get all this career stuff in the right place at the right time. We gotta make this self-love, deeper love with the self plan. And then I gotta get them gotta get both of you in the same place at the same time without you talking about, I don't deserve this. Like, quit trying to derail this whole thing. I feel like the universe is like, I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. There's a lot going on. I'm trying to coordinate. Even though like the universe doesn't work that way, it kind of feels like, I think for us as human beings, right? It's like, okay, I want to manifest a partner. And then like we're manifesting it and like trying to be in that energy for like 6 months or however long, or maybe it's like 2 weeks. Some of us are impatient. And then, then it's been like 2 weeks and we're like, where's my person? Like, why is this manifesting taking so long? Like, what is going on? And it's like, manifestation's not like microwaving a bag of popcorn. Like, it takes a little bit more than like 2 minutes or 2 days or 2 weeks or 2 months. Like, it takes as long as it takes because the universe works in its own time. And I think sometimes like we aren't in the right place to receive it. And then other times, like the thing that we're trying to manifest, like maybe that's not for our highest good. I feel like I can think of someone that like I dated such a long time ago. And I just remember like praying that this would be my person. And now in hindsight, I'm like, whew, dodged a bullet. Just terrible. But, so saying all of that stuff, the universe is bringing you this partnership, this connection that you've been trying to manifest for a long time, that you probably just kind of let go of, like, okay, well, I tried and I don't think that's going to happen, so just go about my business. But it's just really lovely. Like, it's like I said, it could be a romantic relationship, it could be just a friendship connection, but it's a very deep connection. It's very very much like a long-term connection. So this could be like someone that you are friends with for decades, or somebody that you have like a long-term commitment with for a very long time, whatever that looks like for you. So next we have a message for growth, like how you will grow for the month of April, or in the month of April. 2 of Cups. Okay. Lovely. So 2 of Cups and the Lovers are the 2 cards in the tarot that very much talk about like intimate partnership, like deep connection, because we've got this like heart to heart embrace in the Lovers. And then we've got this, kind of eye to eye connection, like very deep eye contact. And then also the crossing of the hands, which I feel like is something that's kind of something that makes me think of weddings, when people like cross arms and they do the whole like champagne thing. But also like this closeness. There's not a lot of people that we want this close in our bubble, and I think a lot of times like for people that are in intimate partnerships, or like parents, parents to smaller children, like this is, it's either going to be your intimate partner or like your small kids that are in your face like this, but it's a very intense relationship, right? Like the relationship that someone has with their child is going to be so much different than like the relationship that they have with like a friend, just like a spouse or like a long-term partner. Like the relationship that you have with like a work acquaintance is completely different than the relationship that you have with your intimate partner. Next we have, Raw Intention, 22. So that is a master number. 2 is the number of partnerships as well. So 2 here, 2, 2. You might be seeing 222 a lot. And then the self-care message is listen. And we've got these 2 people next to each other, and we can tell that like this person's really focusing on this person. Like this person's really paying attention, really listening to this other person. And people start to heal the moment they feel heard. Yeah. Okay, so to me, what it feels like is, excuse me, um, the connections, like the very deep connections that you have this month. One of them is with yourself, one of them is with someone new. You might have a really deep connection with your career, because I feel like everything has energy, and that there are different, I don't like to use the word entity because I feel like that can kind of have a negative connotation, but um like our career can have its own energy, right? Just like our heart can have its own energy, our body can have its own energy, our friendships, our relationships, the relationships with our parents, our relationship with money, all those things can have their own energy. And so to me, it feels like there's this deep, intimate connection with yourself. You're coming into something that will grow into a very deep connection. It might not happen in April. I feel like you'll meet this person in April, but it's going to unfold over the course of time. But that these very deep connections that you have are going to bring a lot of like growth and healing to you. Like a lot of these deep connections that you have are going to allow you to really feel seen and heard. And so if you're in, if you're looking or you're thinking about like your relationship with yourself, like how am I going to make myself feel seen and heard? Like, do I talk to myself? Maybe. But I feel like for me, when I really started to develop a lot of self-compassion, it changed my perspective about things. And so I've said this a couple times, like in videos, like the last day that I, worked in the military, like when I came home that day, it hit me like how hard my whole career had been. And it was like, it's not just like, oh, 20 years was hard. Like there were these really significant periods of my career that like just kind of like came to the surface in my mind, and like I was able to see it in a different way for like how extremely difficult that it was. And I think that sometimes like we can go through things where it's like, oh my gosh, this is so hard, and then we get through it, and on the other side of it we're like, well, I'm glad that's done, and we kind of leave it in the past, in the rearview mirror. We don't take the time to reflect on it, and we don't take the time to like hear ourselves and really acknowledge that like that shit was hard. Like that was so hard. I don't know how I got through that, except for that I didn't have a choice, right? Like there's sometimes you just got to put your head down and like shoulder through stuff. And I feel like with this person, with yourself, there's going to be this very intimate like look at things where like they're going to reflect things back to you that are going to be really healing for your heart. And you're also going to be reflecting things back to yourself that are going to allow you or cause you to feel seen and heard and really kind of like held and nurtured by yourself. It's almost like these two, it could be these two, or this could be, like your past self and your current self, like even maybe some inner child work might come up for you. But really just being able to listen to yourself, because I think sometimes things come up and it's like, oh my gosh, like that was hard. And if we are used to like being criticized by people, like we might say like that was hard, and then our mind goes to like, well, other people have it harder, and so sometimes acknowledging ourselves, like hearing ourselves, can just be letting ourselves say like that was hard, and that's it. Like there's no thought after that, there's no criticism, there's no anything. I feel like I've learned to do that a lot, and like I don't know that I'm perfect at it, but a lot of times what I'll say is like, that was hard for no reason. like there's no reason it should have been that hard, right? And it's almost like it's a self-validating way of just expressing that something was difficult, because I mean there are things that you feel like, I don't know, like I broke my leg a couple of years ago, and like that was hard. Well, yeah, it's hard to not be able to use your leg, like yeah, definitely like everyone would agree. And then there's other times where it's like maybe you have to make a phone call that like doesn't seem like a big deal, and like It is. Like, there's no reason why it was that hard, but it was hard and you did it, right? And so it's like, okay, I did this thing and it was hard for no reason. Like, there's no good reason why it was that hard to do it, but I did it. And I know I didn't want to do it. I know I didn't want to call those people. I know I didn't want to, but I did. And we did a good job. And let's go get ice cream. Okay. Okay, we deserve a little treat. We deserve a reward. So I feel like that is the way that you are going to grow. Like, the intimate connections that you have with yourself and with others during this month are going to be very, very healing for you, which is beautiful. I love it. Okay, and lastly, we are going to look at what it is that you need to leave behind in the month of April. Okay, so we've got the Seven of Cups and stop. Okay. Seven of Cups is a card of uncertainty. I don't know which one to pick. It's also a card of daydreaming. The thing that you're being invited to release is to get out of your head and get into reality, which sounds really harsh, but I'm saying that because all the cups are like in the air, but she is grounded, in reality. She's sitting on the ground. She's kind of grounding herself, rooting herself. She's got a hand down. She's got her legs and her hips on the ground. This stop card feels like it's talking about like stop overanalyzing, stop daydreaming, stop even kind of worrying. Because sometimes the Seven of Cups can be a card where we can't make a decision because we don't know which is the best decision, And so sometimes like Seven of Cups is about like, there's no wrong decision. When we look at this, like for all these cups, like we can't see what's in them. They could all be empty. And if the gift is just the cup, well, they all look the same. So like, how do you pick a bad cup if they're all exactly the same? There's not a bad choice, like do you want a cup? Okay, we'll pick one. I was like, oh, I don't know how to pick the best one. And it's like, they're all the same. They're all the best. But we can see like her hands are down. And so I feel like the Seven of Cups is kind of about inaction, So like if you have had a hard time, like taking that first step forward, if you've had a hard time just really taking action on anything, and you find that you're either over analyzing it and that's why you can't take action, or you're daydreaming about it and you don't take action, you're being encouraged to to stop doing that. It's time to get out of your head and into reality, into your heart, into your body, into forward progress, into movement, into motion, and I feel like this release is just really perfectly matched up to the direction and the guidance that you have here. Like your focus for the month is to move forward, is to is to take action, to move, and the thing you're being asked to release is thinking about it, but not doing it. So it's like a lovely little bow. A lovely way to wrap this up. So group number 3, this has been your April reading. So I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have watched my videos before, I want to say thank you so much for watching again. If you are new, thank you for letting me read your cards. Thank you for being here. So if you enjoyed this reading, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. If you'd like to leave a comment, I would love to read that and respond to you as well. I just want to say that I hope that you have a wonderful April. I hope that this reading is encouraging for you. I feel like there's just so many good things coming for you in April. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hello, group number 4. So if you chose this Disruption Helper Guides number 21 card, this is your reading for the month ahead for April. So I have all of these, so many cards for your monthly reading. So let's look at the first part, which is the direction that you are being guided to move in for the month of April. So we've got Queen of Wands. Yes, we love her. And conjunction, alliance. Okay. 51. So we've got a 21 and a 51. 21 in numerology reduces to 3. 51 reduces to 6. If those numbers are significant to you. Okay, Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Wands is strong, adept, magical. So when we look at this environment that she's in, this is kind of some kind of stone, could be concrete. We've got these kind of desert mountains back here, and we have a sunflower. Where did she get a sunflower from? That's the magic of the Queen of Wands. She can grow, she can create things out of seemingly nothing. How did she grow a sunflower in the desert? We don't know, but she got a little sidekick. So you might have a little bit of witchy energy about you. You might be moving into like a kind of new spiritual practice, or you might just be at a point where you are getting very comfortable with taking the lead in your own life, making decisions that align more for what works for you, instead of whatever you were doing before. Some of you were making decisions based on what made everybody else happy before. Some of you were kind of just going with the flow, like not really making decisions. Like, well, I don't care. Like, what are we doing? Okay, we're doing that. Great. Cool. I'll do that. Like just kind of this nonchalant energy with the conjunction card. So in astrology, a conjunction is when two planets are right next to each other. So, sometimes depending on the planets, it makes me think of two people sitting in one chair. So one person is sitting on the other person's lap. And then other times a conjunction makes me think of two people in the same car, but it's like a really small little, like a Ford Fiesta Geo Metro, like a really tiny, like a little bitty car. But conjunction is essentially like about two different energies being in the same place at the same time, going in the same direction. And so there's a little bit of like partnership energy there, but also alliance, yes, but it feels very not collaborative, synergistic. There's like a synastry. It's like we're both bringing our unique energies together to create something like salad dressing. Because we always talk about oil and vinegar don't mix, but salad dressing, where it's like you got to shake the bottle, but like oil by itself on lettuce or vinegar by itself on lettuce, kind of weird. But then when you mix them together, it's like, oh, this is pleasant. Throw in some other stuff. So the direction, the focus for this month is an encouragement to almost mix your energy with other people to see what kind of magic comes up. And I'm looking at these two, and the impression that I'm getting is maybe that like you are much more comfortable like working alone, being by yourself. And if that is the case, if that message resonates for you, that you prefer to be kind of a lone wolf, your helper guides are saying like, hey, we got to disrupt that. There's something else that like, it's not for your best, highest good. And so we need to change that around. Like I said earlier, 21 reduces to 3 in numerology. 3 makes me think of a triangle. And then the 3 of Pentacles is a card that's about collaboration and mastery. And then 51, like I said, reduces to 6. In numerology, 6 is the number of like human love, of the love that we have for other people. 7 is more of a spiritual love. And so I feel like you're going to, like if you are someone that has been alone for a long time and you prefer to be alone, you're being encouraged to start to collaborate and interact and synergize with other people. So this could look like work, school, hobbies, even friendships, maybe community stuff. But that's the direction that you're being encouraged to, being guided to go in for the month of April. So next we will look at a current connection in your life that's being highlighted for the month of April. And this is the Star. And then we've got my high vibe thoughts create health in my body, peace in my mind, and love in my heart. Okay. So I feel like this is your connection with you. I feel like you are the star, and that like your current connection in your life that's being highlighted is your relationship with yourself and the care of your body, like how you take care of your body. And I say body specifically because that is the focal point of this card. But you know, also like this health, you know, being the first thing. Like when our body is healthy, it's easier for us to have kind of like a peaceful mind. And also like, you know, being healthy like contributes to the health of our heart. The star is like one of the most positive cards in the tarot. Like the star is really this kind of magical being. You know, they exist with one foot in the water, one foot on the earth. So being able to exist in two different spaces at one time, being able to naturally navigate two different spaces at one time. And I feel like that is one of the magic things about you, is that you can, and even I feel like this card is illustrating that, because we have this woman that has, I want to say it's called vitiligo. So she's lost pigment in parts of her skin. And so, you know, like she essentially kind of looks like she has two different colors of skin, right? Like she could be two different races. So there's this unique, magical kind of way that you have of being, right? Like most people don't look like this. Most people don't have like patches of discoloration on their skin that look like the pigment of like maybe a different race than they are, right? So like she kind of looks like she's two different races, which is just like the star existing, being able to navigate two different spaces, two different ways of being. And I feel like that's part of your magic, that because you can navigate, because you get along with the people that live in the water and you get along with the people that live on the land, like there's this opportunity for cross collaboration. And it's almost like you have had experiences in very diverse groups that allow you to be credible with both and then credible with the other, if that makes sense. Yeah. And even like the crossing, like I was looking at this as like, no, like as a do not cross. But like when I'm doing this, like looking at like when I was talking about that you're credible in each group, but that credibility that you have within that group makes you credible to the other groups. Like that might be the disruption they're talking about. You might be the cross collaboration that you are creating, these alliances that you're able to create might be what is disruptive. It might not be that like, well, I feel like if you're somebody that's been solo a long time, like you are being asked to collaborate with other people, even if that's disruptive to you. But I feel like this is about like a larger disruption as well. Maybe the disruption of a system or a culture or a way of being, in the best way, because your guides are helping you do it. It's not just like chaos that you're creating. And then we're going to look at a new connection that's coming in for you for this month. So we have 10 of Pentacles. Oh, so I love 10 of Pentacles. It is, in my opinion, one of the happily ever after cards. 10 of Cups is the other one. And so with 10 of Pentacles, we've got multiple relationships and generations, right? So we've got this grandmother, we've got this maybe couple, we've got this child, got some little baby dogs, and everybody is existing in the same space, right? It all looks like they're kind of in the same kind of this archway. So maybe there's like, if we think of like in current times, like maybe this is like the garden of a house, maybe this is like a community center, maybe this is like an apartment complex, but like these people are all part of community, and there's a lot of different ages, genders, races, groups. Like there's the new connections that you're making are with a community. It's a very diverse community of people. And because it's the happily ever after card, I feel like this might be something that you've been wanting for a while, to be part of a community. And maybe you've been alone because you've been struggling to find that community. It's not like you haven't been alone by choice. Like you just can't, like, you're like, where's my tribe? Like, where are these people? Like I don't have a bat light to put on the top of my house or my apartment to shine for my community. Like, where are they? So I feel like these are the new connections that are coming in, is this community that you're going to develop this alliance with, that like you're going to get to like kind of have this like synergy, like cross collaboration, just really very like high vibe, very fulfilling community. Yeah. Okay. And then this oracle card says, when I cultivate a spiritual connection, I can trust the universe no matter what. Okay, so your level, your ability to trust the universe and like really be in tune with your connections to like your guides, ancestors, like God's source spirit, your helpers, your angels, like that connection is going to essentially be like a GPS to lead you to this community. Not to say that like if you haven't found them yet, it's not because you haven't had the connection with your guides. Like that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, for the month of April, you're being asked to really tune in to your spirit guides, God's source spirit, your higher self, your God self, your angels, all the things that you believe in, and that dedicated time and energy you spend with your guides and your spirit, like your spiritual connection for the month of April, is going to act like a GPS, like a homing beacon, to draw you and your community together. And so I'm looking at this star card again, and the thing that came up is spending time like in that spiritual connection. So that could look like just quiet contemplation, like going for a walk with no headphones in, journaling, meditation, just being in stillness, being in quiet, so that you can hear from like your spirit team, because I feel like they're all around you, right? We've got all these like stars and stuff like above, like right over her head, and she's taking action, right? So it almost feels like you might have been a little bit too busy. It feels like maybe this year has been a little bit chaotic, and so you're being asked to like kind of get quiet, get still, to create that connection, to cultivate that connection with your spirit team, your spirit group, your guides, to help you draw in this community. Okay, so next we have a message for growth. So how will you grow over the course of the month of April? So we've got 10 of Wands. Okay. Changes. And Rebel. Let's see what this says. It's time to celebrate the fact that you don't fit in. Stand on your own 2 feet. Okay, I feel like this self-care message very much resonates with this Queen of Wands, vitiligo kind of message, and also they look very similar. Like the star card is about freedom and authenticity. She's just a chick that's hanging out naked in public, like she's just doing her own thing, right? Just authentically, she's just she's just being her. I'm not saying to go outside and be naked. I mean, unless you own a large amount of property and you're not allowed, or you're not worried about people seeing you. But like with this authenticity card, she's standing in her power. With this rebel card, she's staying in her power. The star card is associated with Aquarius. One of the characteristics of Aquarius, they can be seen as rebellious, but I feel like rebelliousness is the other side of the coin for authenticity, right? Like that if we have this authenticity coin, showing up as your true self is one side, and then rebelling against fitting in is the other side. And so it's time to celebrate the fact that you don't fit in, stand on your own 2 feet. The way that you're growing for the month of April is that you've been doing too much for, I don't want to say the wrong reasons, but you've been doing too much that wasn't in alignment with your authenticity. You've been doing too much to try to fit in. You've been doing too much to try to appease people. And I love that this changes card is the number 10, but also that these little petals are falling away. So it almost feels like this is a before and after. Stop doing all of these things and let some of these wands fall away. Because this is not sustainable, right? When we look at her, like she can't even see where she's going, right? She's just got her hands or her face buried in all of these sticks. Like, also, what is she gonna do with these? Like, it kind of feels like there wasn't a lot of intention behind this. Because if you were having to like transport sticks, you wouldn't dress like this. Like, and you would also bring some tools. You maybe bring some rope or a wheelbarrow or a friend. And so it kind of feels like maybe you don't realize that you've been doing too much, that like along the way, along the journey, whatever this journey has been for you, you might have been handed wands to carry. You might have picked up wands to carry because you thought you were being helpful or you wanted to help. And now we're at the point where you're carrying all of these and you're by yourself and you can't see where you're going or what you're doing. And it's time to put them down. And it's time to make some changes, and it's time to let some things fall away. The things that are not for your best good, the things that don't leave you feeling empowered. Those are the things that you need to start looking at letting go of. Like that's part of the growth, I think, that you're going through for the month of April. Excuse me. I think part of the growth that you're going through for the month of April is to identify the things that you were doing for the wrong reasons for you and make changes so that you can get back into living a life that's aligned for you. Like, instead of trying to fit in with everyone, like figuring out how to live a life that makes it easier for you to stand on your own. I feel like that's the big change, or that's the growth that's happening. You're growing out of old programming and growing into what feels to you like rebelling. It's really not, but like, I mean, sometimes being our authentic selves can be an act of rebellion. You know, if we come from a family that is really strict, or that, you know, it has like a very kind of like the whole family culture is kind of revolves around like a certain value, and we decide that that value doesn't work for us anymore and that we don't value that thing, then we can be seen as a rebel for making authentic choices for what aligns for us. So this card is not necessarily about rebelling. It's about seeing, you know, or this growth message is about seeing where you've been doing too much, making changes and making changes to how much you do so that you can be in alignment with yourself, with your authentic self. And then finally, we have a message for what needs to be released over the month of April. And we have justice in reverse and frustration. Okay. So this justice in reverse, let me put it upright. This justice card is, it's a card that represents Libra. It's a card of balance, and it's a card of justice, like it says. When we've got this equal sign here also, the sword and the scales, action versus decision making. In the reverse, justice in reverse is illustrating that there is an imbalance, that there is something that is that has or is creating a sense of injustice in your life, imbalance. And so that's bringing about this feeling of frustration. So if there's a situation, connection, it could be something really small, it could be something really significant that's been creating like this really significant level of frustration in your life because it's out of balance, because it's not fair, it's unjust. There's something about it that's like not right, but nobody's calling it out for being wrong. Excuse me. that situation, that thing is what you're being encouraged to release. So this could be something as small as, well, not small, but this could be something as like tangible and real world as maybe you have a cell phone carrier and they continually like get your bill wrong, right? And so like every month you have to go up there and say, hey, I have this, my bill's wrong because like I have this discount that I've had for this many years, and like every month this happens where it's like you overcharge me and then you have to credit me, and like this has been going on for 6 months. And maybe they tell you like, well, we can't, you're going to have to just keep doing it because we can't fix this in our system. And so you might decide, I'm not going to continue to get cell phone service with you because this is frustrating me every single month that like you just can't, like you can't honor this rebate that you offered to me, that I have to come up here and fight you for the rebate that is why I signed up for this contract. So you just change your cell phone provider, which is pretty easy to do nowadays, you know. You can keep your number and everything. Or this can be something as significant as a relationship that's out of balance, you know, like a relationship that's toxic, maybe a relationship where there's some bullying, a relationship where you're doing more than the other person and there's no signs that they appreciate it or that they want to reciprocate it. Actually, they're happy with it being that way. Like they are more than happy for you to do too much and for them to do less. Really kind of looking at releasing those imbalances in your life. Yeah, and I'm looking at this disruption card again. You know, that's not for your highest good. No, not for your highest good. Is it in alignment with you? You know, that's that rebel energy. It might be the thing that is needed to empower you to do this thing. And even the times that like this comes up, if you're not able to take action on it right now, because sometimes like we can't fix those things, right? This could be a work situation where it's like maybe you have like a horrible boss, but you've been applying for jobs and like there's just not like it's not that easy to just like pick up and leave. You know, like you might need to stand up for yourself, you know, in this like unfair dynamic. Like if you're the one that's always getting projects assigned to you and you have the highest workload out of everybody on your team and you haven't said anything because you're hoping that your boss is going to see it, you might need to send an email and say, hey, I'm maxed out. And so I would appreciate it if you could assign any new projects to other team members because I'm at max capacity. I can't take on any more. Or you might even say like, hey, this last project that you gave me, I can't do it. Like I'm stretched thin. I'm barely holding it together for these. So like, can you hand this off to somebody else? Or can you get another person on my team to help me with this? Because I have 17 projects and maybe like your boss doesn't even realize it. Maybe they're just a terrible boss. And you know, you kind of have to manage them. They don't manage you. You have to manage your manager. So it could be something where it's like you just have to speak up. You have to stand up for yourself and say, hey, I can't, that doesn't work for me. I can't do that. It's not okay. You know, and you don't have to be emotional about it. Like, you don't have to like, because she's not, you know what I mean? Like there's no, even looking at all these cards, like there's not a lot of emotion here. You know, she's just standing in her authority to say, hi, I have 17 projects. I can't take on another one. And like not even offering a solution because you're not the manager. It's not your job to manage how the work is handed out. It's your job to state what you're, you know, like if you're at capacity, like what you can and can't do, you know, because that's a logical, that's a reasonable expectation of an employee, right? Like if they don't know how to do something, we would want for them to let us know. So if you're maxed out because this situation is unfair and frustrating, you know, like you can just calmly state that like you can't do this, or this doesn't make sense, or this is unfair, or it seems like I have a lot higher workload than the rest of the team. Can we look at reevaluating that? And so unfortunately, I feel like this rebel energy, the standing up for yourself, is not a one and done. And you know that, like, change doesn't, there's not just one thing that we can do to change something and it just takes right away, you know. And, you know, transitioning out of this, you're the type of person you are, you're not going to drop all 10 of these at once. Even if your hands are cramping, even if you're about to pass out, you still won't, just because that's how you are. But what you can do is you can put one down. You can put one down and see if you can keep carrying the other 9. Or you might come up to someone and be like, hey, can you take this one? And she's like, yeah, I'll take that one. I got you. You know, or like, hey, guides and angels, like, can you take this? Can you help get some of this off of me? Like, I can't do this. I was made to frolic in the woods in the nighttime with pictures. Aren't we all? But, you know, just to say that you have a lot of support around you. If you do speak up and say, hey, things are out of balance, and like that doesn't make the traction that you need, you have your helper guides there to disrupt some things. You know, they want to create some disruption. So, which I love. Like, I hope I have disruptive helper guides that just go and make a little little chaos for people. That's terrible for me to say, but it's how I feel. But yeah, so group number 4, this has been your reading for the month of April. So if you have watched my videos before, I want to say thank you so much for coming back to watch this one. If you're new, thank you for letting me read your cards for you. If you enjoyed this reading, I would love it if you would like and subscribe. If you would like to leave a comment, I would love to read it and respond to it. But most of all, I hope that you just have a really amazing April, that you there's a lot of badass energy here, right? There's just like a lot of badass energy here. So I hope that you are able to embody that. I hope that you're able to see how strong and capable that you are, and that disruption is not a bad thing. You know, sometimes we all need a little or a big shakeup every once in a while. So yeah, group number 4, this has been your reading. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.